The uninvited storm. The alarms began screaming across every monitoring station in Council space at exactly the same moment. Zathmore, Supreme Coordinator of the Galactic Council, felt his three hearts skip in synchronized rhythm as he watched the display screens light up with warnings. For 1,000 years, nothing had approached the sacred assembly without permission. For 1,000 years, the protocols had been followed perfectly. Today, something was different. Zathmore's silver skin shimmered with stress patterns as he moved through the command center. Around him, technicians from dozens of species worked frantically at their stations. The sacred assembly floated in the void between galaxies, a massive construct that housed the governing body of 3,000 civilizations. It was supposed to be unreachable without council authorization. Yet something was coming, and it was coming fast. "Report," Zathmore commanded, his voice carrying the weight of centuries of authority. A young Krell technician looked up from her station, her eye stalks trembling. "Supreme Coordinator, we are detecting 273 distinct energy signatures. They appeared at the edge of sensor range 4 minutes ago. Current speed suggests arrival in less than 10 minutes. "Identification?" Zathmore asked, though part of him already suspected the answer. "Unknown, sir. The signatures do not match any registered council vessel. The propulsion system is completely foreign to our databases." Zathmore felt a cold sensation spreading through his body. Only one species had recently made contact and refused to follow proper protocols. Only one species had ignored the standard greeting procedures and established their own communication channels. Only one species had the arrogance to challenge 10,000 years of galactic order. "Humans," he whispered. The word spread through the command center like wildfire. Humans. The newest species to achieve faster-than-light travel, the aggressive primates from a small blue world in an unremarkable corner of the galaxy. They had been contacted only 8 months ago with a simple message: submit your credentials, follow the protocols, join the council, as all species must. They had responded with silence for 3 months, then sent a single message back: "We will consider your offer." Consider. As if they had a choice. As if they were equals. "Open a channel to the assembly chamber," Zathmore ordered. "Alert all council members. We have uninvited guests approaching." The sacred assembly chamber was already filling with representatives when Zathmore arrived. The massive spherical room could hold 10,000 beings comfortably, and today it seemed every council member had answered the emergency summons. Zathmore made his way to the central platform, his ceremonial robes flowing behind him. "Members of the council," he began, his voice amplified throughout the chamber. "We face an unprecedented situation. An unknown fleet approaches our sacred space without authorization, without following any established protocols." A roar of voices filled the chamber, questions, accusations, demands for action. Zathmore raised his hand for silence. "We believe these vessels belong to the humans. The species we contacted 8 months ago, the species that has ignored our directives." "Impossible," thundered General Krax, the military commander from the Vorten Empire. His massive frame was covered in battle scars from 100 campaigns. "No newcomer species has the technology to reach this location. No newcomer species would dare approach without permission." "Yet they come," Zathmore said simply. The display screens around the chamber suddenly activated, showing the approaching fleet. Even Zathmore, who had seen countless wonders in his long life, felt his breath catch. The human ships were unlike anything in council records. They moved in perfect formation, each vessel unique in design yet coordinated with precision. Some were sleek and dart-like, others massive and blocky. They did not follow any known engineering principles, yet they moved through space with undeniable purpose. "They will be here in 3 minutes," announced the tactical officer. "Arm all defensive systems," General Krax commanded. "Prepare to fire on my order." "Wait," said a calm voice from the diplomatic section. Ambassador Lurth, representing the Peaceful Cyrene Collective, stepped forward. "Perhaps we should attempt communication first. Firing on them would be an act of war." "They have already committed an act of war by approaching without authorization," Krax shot back. "Enough." Zathmore said. "Open all communication channels. Let us see what these humans want." The main display shifted, and a face appeared. It was a human female, her features sharp and intelligent. Dark hair was pulled back from her face, and her eyes showed no fear, only determination. She wore a simple uniform with no elaborate decorations, yet she carried herself with unmistakable authority. "Greetings, Galactic Council," the human said. Her voice was clear and strong. "I am Captain Elena Vasquez of the United Earth Fleet. We received your message 8 months ago." "You were ordered to send a diplomatic delegation," Zathmore replied, keeping his voice steady. "A small vessel with proper credentials. Instead, you bring a military fleet to our most sacred space. This is unacceptable." "Unacceptable to whom?" Captain Vasquez asked. "We checked your message carefully. It demanded our presence. It listed violations we supposedly committed. But it never said we had to come alone, and it never said we had to come unarmed." Murmurs spread through the chamber. The human was technically correct, though everyone understood the implied expectations. "You know what was meant," Zathmore said coldly. "We are not playing games," Vasquez replied. "We are being very serious. You summoned us. We are here. Now shall we discuss why you really wanted to see us?" "Your species has committed numerous violations of galactic law," Zathmore began, pulling up a holographic list. "You have colonized 17 worlds without authorization. You have ignored territorial boundaries established by the Council. You have built military vessels in restricted space. You have refused to submit to genetic registration protocols." "Genetic registration," Vasquez repeated slowly. "You mean you wanted us to give you our DNA so you could catalog us like specimens in a laboratory?" "It is standard procedure for all species," explained Ambassador Lurth gently. "It helps us understand your biological needs, your medical requirements. It helps us understand our weaknesses, our vulnerabilities, what diseases might affect us, what environments would kill us." She paused. "We've been studying your protocols very carefully for 8 months. We have also been studying your history. Our history is well known. 10,000 years of peace and prosperity across the galaxy. 10,000 years of control," Vasquez corrected. "We accessed your public records. We spoke with species on the edges of Council space. We learned some very interesting things." The chamber grew quiet. Every Council member was now focused completely on the human captain. "We learned," Vasquez continued, "that every species that joins the Council must first submit to evaluation, must first prove they are worthy, must first demonstrate they can follow orders. And we learned that species who refuse are labeled as threats. Their worlds are quarantined, their trade is restricted, their expansion is stopped. They are slowly strangled until they have no choice but to submit." "Those are lies," General Krax roared. "Propaganda from criminals and outcasts." "Are they?" Vasquez asked calmly. "Then explain the Tavik, a peaceful species that requested membership 40 years ago but wanted to maintain their own military. Their request was denied. Now they can't leave their home system. Their ships are turned back at every border. Their people slowly dying as their sun grows unstable." Zathmore felt something he had not felt in centuries: shame. The Tavik situation was complicated, but the human was not entirely wrong. "The Tavik were given options," he said carefully. "They were given ultimatums," Vasquez shot back. "Submit completely or suffer. That is not peace. It is tyranny with a pleasant face." "You understand nothing," Zathmore said, his voice growing cold. "The Council maintains order. Without order, there is chaos. Without structure, species tear each other apart. We have created the longest period of stability in galactic history." "You have created the longest period of stagnation," Vasquez replied. "You have 3,000 species in the Council, yet in the last 1,000 years, how many significant technological breakthroughs have occurred? How many new ideas have emerged? How many bold innovations have changed the galaxy?" The silence that followed was damning. "We maintain what works," Ambassador Lurth said softly. "You maintain control," Vasquez said. "You keep everyone safe by keeping everyone weak.
You prevent war by preventing progress, and now you see humanity, a species that went from first flight to faster-than-light travel in less than a century, and you are terrified. We are not terrified, General Crax snarled, though his voice betrayed him. You should be, Vasquez said simply, because we have been doing more than just studying your history. We have been studying your technology, your ships, your weapons, your systems, and we have been improving on them. She gestured, and new images appeared on the displays, detailed schematics of Council technology, weapon systems, shield generators, propulsion drives. But each schematic was marked with modifications, improvements, and innovations. For 8 months, Vasquez explained, you left monitoring satellites near our system. You thought we wouldn't notice them. You thought we couldn't access them. You were wrong on both counts. We captured them, we studied them, we learned from them, and we made them better. Zathmore stared at the schematics in horror. The modifications were brilliant, things that count.
The reckoning begins. The council chamber remained in chaos for nearly an hour after the human transmission ended. Zathmore stood at the central podium, watching his centuries of carefully maintained order dissolved before his eyes. Representatives shouted accusations at each other. Some demanded immediate military action against the humans. Others called for Zathmore's resignation. A few simply sat in stunned silence, processing the revelations that had just been dropped on them like a meteor strike. "Order!" Zathmore commanded, slamming his staff against the podium. The sound echoed through the chamber, but it took several attempts before the noise died down. "We must respond with unity, not division." "Unity?" Ambassador Lurth's voice cut through the remaining murmurs. She stood from her seat, her normally gentle features hardened with anger. "How can we speak of unity when you have hidden the truth from us for centuries? Is what the humans said true? Was the council founded on genocide?" Zathmore felt the weight of 3,000 species staring at him, waiting for his answer. He could lie. He could deny everything. But he had seen the determination in Captain Vasquez's eyes. The humans had evidence, and they would share it whether he confirmed it or not. "The founding of the council was a complicated time," he began carefully. "The galaxy was fractured. Species fought each other constantly. Worlds burned. The founders did what they believed was necessary to establish peace." "That is not an answer," said Counselor Vren of the Methane Breathers. His voice bubbled through his translation unit. "Were species eliminated for refusing to join?" The silence stretched. Finally, Zathmore nodded once. "Yes." The chamber exploded again. This time, Zathmore made no attempt to restore order. He simply stood there, accepting the fury and betrayal washing over him. He had inherited these secrets, not created them, but he had maintained them. That made him complicit. General Crax pushed his way to the front, his massive form scattering smaller species from his path. "So we acknowledge our past sins. This changes nothing about our current situation. The humans threaten us with a fleet. They have violated our space. They must be dealt with." "How?" asked a small voice from the back. It was Counselor Pip, representing one of the smallest species in the council. "How do we deal with them? They have studied our technology and improved it. They have hacked our most secure systems. They have brought evidence that turns half the council against us. What exactly do you propose, General?" Crax's jaw worked soundlessly for a moment. "We have superior numbers. We have established defensive positions. We can destroy their fleet." "At what cost?" asked Ambassador Lurth. "They came here knowing we might attack. Do you truly believe they have no contingency plans? And even if we destroy them, what then? We prove that the humans were right about us. We prove that we rule through force and fear." "We could negotiate," suggested Counselor Thane of the Silicon Collective. "Never!" Crax snarled. "If we bow to the humans, every species in the galaxy will think they can challenge us. The Council's authority will collapse." "Perhaps it should," Lurth said softly. The words hung in the air like a bomb. No one had ever suggested such a thing in the Council's entire history. Before anyone could respond, the alarm systems activated again. A young technician's voice came through the speakers, trembling with fear. "Supreme Coordinator, the human fleet is moving. They are entering attack formation." Zathmore's blood turned cold. Had the humans decided not to wait? Were they going to strike first? Activate all defensive systems, Krax commanded, already moving toward the tactical center. Prepared to return fire. Wait, Zathmore said, but he was already running after the general. They reached the command center to find the tactical displays lit up with red warning indicators. The human fleet had indeed shifted position, but they were not advancing. Instead, they had spread out in a wide sphere around the sacred assembly. Each ship was perfectly positioned, creating an impenetrable web of overlapping fields of fire. "What are they doing?" Krax demanded. "They are demonstrating," said a calm voice behind them. Zathmore turned to see Dr. Chen, the human scientist from the earlier transmission, now standing in their command center. Several guards moved to intercept him, but he simply held up his hands. "Please, I mean no harm. Captain Vasquez sent me to continue our discussion in person." "How did you get in here?" Zathmore asked, genuinely shocked. "This facility has the most advanced security in the galaxy." "You have very good security," Dr. Chen agreed, smiling gently, "but you designed it to keep out council species and known threats. You did not design it to keep out humans." He gestured to the tactical display. "My colleagues are currently present in 17 different secure locations throughout this station. We are not here to harm anyone. We are here to ensure you take us seriously." "You infiltrated the sacred assembly?" Krax said, his voice barely controlled rage. "This is an act of war." "This is a demonstration," Dr. Chen corrected. "If we wanted to commit an act of war, this station would already be crippled. We have had access to your systems for the past hour. We could have disabled your weapons, your life support, your communications. We did not, because we want to talk, not fight." "Then talk," Zathmore said, gesturing to a chair. "Explain to me how your species went from primitive spaceflight to threatening the most powerful organization in the galaxy in less than a century." Dr. Chen sat, looking almost grateful for the chance to rest. He was older than Captain Vasquez, probably in his 60s by human standards. His eyes held the patience of a teacher. "We did not set out to threaten you," he began. "When we first detected your monitoring satellites, we were excited. First contact with alien life. It should have been humanity's greatest moment. But then we started analyzing your signals, studying your technology, and we realized something troubling." "What?" Lurth asked. She had followed them to the command center along with several other council members. "Your technology had not advanced in over 1,000 years, Dr. Chen said simply. "Oh, you had refined things, made them more efficient. But true innovation, true breakthroughs, they had stopped. We found records of council species from 1,000 years ago, and their technology was essentially the same as what you use today." "Stability," Zathmore said. "We achieved what worked and maintained it." "Stagnation," Dr. Chen countered gently. "And you understood why. When you have 3,000 species all following the same rules, all using the same approved technologies, all afraid to experiment because innovation might be seen as threatening, progress stopped. The Council did not just maintain peace, it maintained conformity. And humans refuse to conform," Krax said bitterly. "We cannot conform," Dr. Chen explained. "It is not in our nature. Humanity evolved on a death world. Everything on Earth tried to kill us. The weather, the animals, the diseases, even the plants. We survived by being adaptable, by trying new things, by refusing to accept that just because something had always been done one way, it was the only way." He pulled out a small device and placed it on the table. "This is a standard Council energy shield generator. We studied the ones from your satellites. They are beautifully designed, very efficient, but they have a fundamental flaw. Our shields have protected Council vessels for millennia," Krax objected. "Against Council weapons, yes, but your shields and your weapons were designed together. They evolved together. You created the perfect defense against your own offense. And because you stopped innovating, both systems remained unchanged." He pressed a button on the device and a holographic display appeared. "We redesigned the energy matrix, changed the frequency modulation, added adaptive protocols that shift the shield harmonics based on incoming fire.
your weapons would be significantly less effective against our shields. And your weapons would be more effective against ours, Zathmore said, understanding dawning. Exactly. Not because we are smarter than you, but because we approached your technology with fresh eyes. We saw possibilities you stopped looking for. Ambassador Lurth leaned forward, genuine curiosity overcoming her anger. But how did you advance so quickly? Even with our technology to study, going from basic understanding to improvement in 8 months should be impossible. Dr. Chen smiled. That is the other thing about humans. We are very good at sharing information. When your satellites appeared near Earth, we did not keep them secret. We did not let one government or one group study them. We shared everything with everyone. Scientists from 100 nations worked together. Thousands of brilliant minds, all focused on the same problem. We had people working on your technology 24 hours a day, around the entire planet. No bureaucracy, no committee approvals, just pure collaborative innovation. Chaos, Krax muttered. Productive chaos, Dr. Chen corrected. Sometimes the best solutions come from unexpected places. One of our greatest breakthroughs came from a 19-year-old student in India who approached the problem differently than trained physicists. In the council, would a teenage student ever be allowed to question established technology? The silence was answer enough. But this still does not explain what you want, Zathmore said. You have demonstrated your capabilities. You have revealed our secrets. You have positioned your fleet to defend or attack as needed. What is your endgame, Dr. Chen? What does humanity actually want? Dr. Chen's expression grew serious. We want what you claim the Council already provides. Real peace, real cooperation, real advancement. Not control disguised as order. The Council has maintained peace for 10,000